Hey guys, Born Studios here, and today I have a list. We have come to that time of year where I'm a little bit late on this list, but I had to see a couple movies before I got this out of my way. Today we're going to be doing my top 15 movies of 2018. All the movies I've seen 2018. I've seen a couple more than 15. I've seen probably about 18. Some of the movies didn't make my list, and I'll include them as honorable mentions at the end of this video, but for right now, we're going to get into these top 15, not top 10, because I couldn't pick only 10. It's very hard, and plus 15 is bad as it is, because it's not as good as the other 14 on the list, but it's better than the other couple that didn't make the list at all. So without further ado, let's get into my top 15 favorite movies of 2018. Coming in at number 15, people are going to be mad about this, but fuck it, it's my list. I'm sorry for the bad language too if there's any 5-year-olds watching this, in which case, why the hell are you on YouTube? At number 15, this is going to upset a lot of people. We have Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, I see why people did not like Solo, a Star Wars story, because at points it does feel weird, and it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie. At times, it kind of feels like this action movie that's trying so hard to be a Star Wars movie, but it's really not. It feels kind of different at times, but really, I gotta say, overall, I had an enjoyable time at the movies with this, and I really enjoyed it. On the first viewing, I wasn't so sure about it because it kind of felt off to me. Like, I felt like what people were saying. It didn't feel like Star Wars. It was boring in parts. I do have a lot of problems with it, like how he got his name, or a couple other things that really kind of bothered me. One of which is that stupid droid. But we're not going to get into that right here, right now. But all I have to say is I had a great time on other viewings of this movie, and I do think that it has to be on the list somewhere, but just because I had such a fun time at the movies with this, even though I didn't like it on the first viewing, it grew on me. Coming out at number 14, another movie people are going to have a problem with on this list, but it's my list, it's my opinion. It's not necessarily the best movies of 2018. These are my favorite movies of 2018. At number 14, we have Venom with Tom Hardy. This movie, I can see the problems with it too that people have. You know, the villain is very weak and underdeveloped. You know, some of the comedy doesn't really land, but it does in some parts. The soundtrack is just kind of especially that stupid Eminem song, like Venom ain't gonna know what hit him. Gonna get that venom, cause I'm Venom. I'm the suit, so call me Venom. It's just kind of annoying and it's just weird, but this movie I felt was very enjoyable. It's what we wanted Venom to be. That's one thing they got incredibly right. You cannot deny that. They got the character right. Eddie Brock is a journalist. He's this. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And Venom says we. He doesn't say, oh, I'm Venom, hi, I'm black. I'm not racist, by the way. I'm just saying he's black suited. Hi, I'm black. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna fuck some shit up. He's like, no, we are going to fuck shit up. So it was good. It was enjoyable. I had a fun time with this movie. It's very enjoyable. I'm sorry if you're mad. It's my list. At 13, Creed 2. I was gonna see this movie with a couple of my friends that I watched the first Creed with, but I thought it's getting too late. You gotta see it. And I gotta do it before I go and review or do my favorite movies of the year. Creed 2 was a formidable sequel to the original Creed, which I really enjoyed a lot. I really felt like Creed has its place in the Rocky franchise. I do think it's better than a lot of the other Rocky movies that have come out, and Creed 2 it's up there, man. I really think I like a lot of things about it. I like the tension between the Drago family and the Creed family, because obviously if you've seen Rocky 4, you know why there's a lot of beef going on in between the families. And overall, it's got a great story. It's got great fights. It's just it builds up to a lot, and you really have a great payoff in the end, and I really think that it's great. And I do agree with a lot of other people. I've heard some people say that they need to stop the series here, and I agree. I don't think they should make a Creed 3. I think they should stop here and just have it be the dynamic duo, Creed and Creed 2. At number 12, we have Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 was by far probably the most fun. I don't want to say most fun. Maybe I've had in a comic book movie this year. It was definitely a lot of fun though. I do have to say I liked this one. I don't think it's as good as the original, but I do like it. Cable is a great addition. Domino is a great addition. There's just so much to love about this. Of course, Ryan Reynolds is probably everyone's favorite part about Deadpool because he's just so charismatic, and he is the quintessential Deadpool. There is no other person that can play him. I do like the story. If I had to pick a bad thing about it, I'd say the kid was kind of annoying. Fire Fist or whatever his name was, the Human Torch, fat, chubby Human Torch. He was the only weak link in the movie, but otherwise, it's a very enjoyable movie. You have, a lot going on, and if you haven't seen it, I do think you should watch it, especially if you're a comic book, Marvel, or Deadpool fan, in which case you've probably already seen it. But yeah, coming in at number 11, we have Mission Impossible Fallout, probably one of, if not the best action movie I've seen all year that's not a comic book movie. This movie really hits hard in the Mission Impossible franchise. I've never really been a huge fan of Mission Impossible. The first one's okay. I didn't really like the second one. I've never seen the third one, and the fourth one I don't remember that much. Not because I thought it was a forgettable film or anything, but basically because I don't remember that much from it. I think I saw it a long time ago, maybe, or I walked in on it while I was on, and I just didn't stay to watch it because I had other things going on. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation was fine, but Fallout, really, it cements itself inside of the series as probably being one of, if not the best Mission Impossible movie. It's really fun. It's a lot of great action, some of the greatest action we've ever seen in action movies, period. It's a fun, incredible time at the movies, and everyone does their part exceedingly well. Like, they do their job plus more, and I think if you haven't seen this movie, and if you're not a fan of Mission Impossible, I'd say give this one a shot just to see what you think, because it is definitely a fun action movie. Bringing us into the top 10, we have Incredibles 2. This movie was a lot of fun. I watched this with my mother, of all people, and she thought that this one was much better than the first one, and again, I have to disagree. Like Deadpool, I thought Incredibles 1 was just a tad bit better. However, that does not take away from the beauty of this movie. This movie is probably the best kids movie all year. There wasn't that many kids movies that were exceedingly great like this movie was, plus my number 2 pick. But I have to go back and rewatch my number 2 and Incredibles 2 to see which one was more fun. But I really did have a fun time. It's got a good story. You got good new characters that you kind of are invested in. The villain was something that is kind of, what is the word I'm trying to... predictable. You kind of predict who the villain's going to be, which is, I guess, the bad part about the movie. But it's overall, I think kids are going to enjoy it. And it's one of those kids movies that not only will the kids enjoy it, but the parents will also enjoy it. There's those stupid movies like Minions where the kids just enjoy them and the parents hate them. This is not one of those movies. I think parents and kids will both love Incredibles 2, because I know I did. At number 9, we have Won't You Be My Neighbor? This movie is a great documentary. If you've not seen this, I would recommend watching it, because it just tells a lot about Mr. Rogers that you've never really thought about or even heard about in the first place. And I really do think that people will have another sense of their mind open up, and will maybe turn over a new leaf in some sort of way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It will definitely widen people's eyes, I think, the more people that see it. It didn't really... I don't think a lot of people actually particularly watched the movie, but I would recommend watching the movie if you haven't, because it tells a great, interesting story through the documentary style. And I think that people will really enjoy this movie. And if you grew up with Mr. Rogers, you are definitely going to enjoy this movie, I think. I did not grow up with Mr. Rogers, unfortunately, but I still had a fun time. And if I didn't watch it growing up and I enjoyed the movie, I think you will too if you did grow up watching it, especially. At number 8, we have the second best actually, horror movie of the year, Hereditary. Hereditary does its job exceedingly well. It does not rely on corny jump scares. It doesn't rely on every other horror movie trope in the book. This movie is a fresh new take on what horror movies should be going forward. This is kind of like what I felt about It last year. However, I'd have to go back and rewatch It, but I do think Hereditary, as far as I'm concerned, is better than It, in my opinion. Hereditary just does its job properly, and every person that I've recommended this movie to really enjoyed the movie, and I think people out there that, I don't know who's listening to this video right now, and I'm sure there's other movie reviewers who watch, because I'm not really a movie reviewer. That's not what I'm known for, at least. But if I would recommend you a movie on this list, I'd recommend a lot, but Hereditary, definitely one of those movies that many people probably didn't really see. Maybe there was something else out at the time that they'd rather see, but I do recommend watching this movie for a good fright if you were wanting something like that. It's a great horror movie. I just had to put that out there. Coming in at number 7, we have a great movie for a good cry. If you want to cry, watch Love, Simon. Love, Simon is fantastic. I really adored this movie. This is really a movie that I would also recommend to the people out there watching this video. This is a must-see because of just the charm and the grace that lies beyond this movie. If you watch it, you will definitely cry. I think I cried like 3 times in this movie. I swear to God. I am that person. I am that person that bawls and cries at a lot of things in movies. This movie got to me. It tugged at my heartstrings, and it will do the same for you if you actually have a soul and a heart. This movie tells an exceedingly great love story with great characters and a great story, and it's amazing, and I definitely would recommend it. There's not much else I could say about this movie. I need to buy it on Blu-ray, and I need to watch it again, and I want to show it to my mom. I just want to see what my mom thinks about this movie. At number 6, we have Venom 2.0, or the thing that came up before Venom. We have Upgrade. Upgrade is Venom 2.0, or Venom is Upgrade 2.0 because it came out after Upgrade. But I do think Upgrade's better. It's great. It's just such a simple plot, and it's so like down to earth in what it is and its storytelling and its style, but it really pulls it off in an exceedingly great way. If you liked Venom, I think you'll have a better time with Upgrade. It's more enjoyable, definitely, and it definitely has a better third act than Venom did. I enjoyed Venom. It's obviously on my list, but it's much better than Venom. If you want a better time at the movies, watch Upgrade. Maybe not. It doesn't have better actors, I wouldn't say, although the main guy is pretty good in Upgrade. I can't remember the actor's name. I'm so sorry. But this is overall just an enjoyable time. It's not. You don't go to this movie for the plot. You don't go to it for, the actors or whatever. You go to this movie. This is the type of movie you go to just sit down, relax, hang out with your friends, your family, and just watch an enjoyable, fun-ass movie. Coming in at number 5, we have my favorite horror movie of 2018, A Quiet Place. This movie is quintessential horror for me. Hereditary might be better in your opinion. If that's okay, and if that's the case, you enjoy Hereditary. Hereditary is a good movie. It's a great movie. But I had to put The Quiet Place on here because it deserves the spot it's at. At number 5, I really enjoyed this movie. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, oh my god, they do terrific jobs in this movie. And the kids, someone needs an Oscar here. I think Krasinski, he wrote and directed the movie, I'm pretty sure. He deserves everything coming his way toward this. He's great as a comedic actor in The Office, we know that. But this is something we've never seen. We've never seen a horror element side of John Krasinski. And I think he really showed us that he can do horror in a fantastic, fresh way with A Quiet Place. This movie, it really is tense. And when you watch it in a silent place, I challenge everyone out there to watch this movie in the dark and in a quiet environment. If you want people to be there, make sure they stay quiet throughout the entire movie. It's a terrific experience. It's peaceful, and it's fucking terrifying. I shit you not. It is an amazing movie, and the acting is superb, especially with the sign language and everything that they do. It is just top-notch horror. Number 4 is Bad Times at the El Royale, or at El Royale. At the El Royale, that's what it's called. This movie was weird. It was out there, and the thing that got me interested in it was that it had this Tarantino-esque feel to it, where it was like multiple different characters and their different stories, and that's what gripped me and hooked me going into the movie. I watched this with my aunt, and it was a Steam message. It was very enjoyable, and I was like, what the hell? And it got kind of like negative reviews almost a little bit, and I was like, what the hell was the matter with that movie? And sometimes I don't get people that downgrade a movie over like, oh, it didn't have this many camera shots in it, and it would have been better with saturation on it. It's like, fuck off. Enjoy the movie. Number 3 is the best thriller I've seen all year, and that is Searching with John Cho, I believe his name is. Sulu, Star Trek. This movie is, it's gripping, to say the least. It grips you and it hooks you into this very emotional story, and it does it in a creative way with all the computer screens and everything that it did with the movie. And I really felt that was like one of the major positives I could give it, but not the major positive. The major positive is just the gripping story that really hooks you and gets you invested right at the beginning. You know, it's just impossible not to like this movie, and I think everyone should give it a chance, even if you're not into these types of movies. Like these types of movies, I really think anyone can find enjoyment in this movie, and just, it's not super relatable unless you're going through what the character's going through, but there's twists and turns spread throughout the movie that make it such an enjoyable masterpiece, and this will go down, I think, as one of the best movies in a long time. At number 2, we have the movie that I had the most fun with this year. I know I said that a couple times on this list, but I recently just saw it a couple days ago, and oh my god, guys, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is such a fun time. You have all these things coming together to make one emotional journey, and Miles Morales is a great character. You know, I never really knew much about Miles Morales until I was introduced to him from a couple of my friends, and then they told me more about him, and you know, I was like, okay, so this movie coming out, I have to see it, because what bothered me was it's a Sony movie, and you know, Sony doesn't have a great track record. Even though I enjoyed the hell out of Venom, people didn't really care for it too much, and I don't understand that, but to each their own. And I was kind of scared for Into the Spider-Verse, but thankfully I enjoyed it, and I had to shut myself off from a lot of things and just be like, you know what, even if people rip this movie to shreds, I'm going to do what I can to enjoy the hell out of this movie. And I wasn't just going to sit there and be biased towards it and say, even if it gets terrible reviews, I'm going to say it's a great movie no matter what. This movie was legitimately great, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I might do a review for this movie just to tell you what I loved about it, but I'd have to see it a couple more times before I actually give my full review over it. This movie has great characters. It's got a great story. It's got a great villain, you know, great actors doing what they can. I know they're not really acting, but, you know, voice acting is a type of acting, and it could be argued that it's harder to voice act than to act. I know that kind of sounds stupid, but it's possibly true. And I just have to say, no other movie made me have the most fun. No other movie invested me right from the opening shot. No other movie made me have a giant smile on my face for the entire film than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But coming out number 1, guys, no other movie emotionally, deeply affected me, and no other movie brought me every emotion in the spectrum more than Avengers Infinity War. Now I'm going to get back down to you on a personal over here. This movie made me feel every emotion that I could possibly feel. It made me feel sad. It made me feel angry. It made me feel remorse. It made me feel guilt. It made me feel surprised. It made me feel angry. It gave me everything that I wanted and just a lot more on top of that, in a great way and an emotional way too. This movie did everything for me. the characters are all back, the characters that you all love, and the culmination of Marvel that has been since Iron Man 1 from 2008 to this movie in 2018. 10 years of an incredible journey we've had with Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers, and the villains that we've had, and several great things leading up to this one giant, huge emotional movie. And it hits you on every level. And if you're not a comic book fan, you will enjoy this movie. I know it, because my aunt and my uncle hate comic book movies. They can't stand them. They think they're stupid, and they think they're boring and overrated. When they watched Infinity War, they legitimately thought the movie was very enjoyable, and they really enjoyed it. They felt like it was one of the few comic book movies that they really loved and could get into. And I'm telling you right now, it is everything that you'd want inside of a Marvel movie. It's perfect. I mean, it's not legitimately perfect, like no movie is perfect, but it's everything that you'd expect from it to be. Everything that you expect, it happens, plus more that you don't expect. And I think that's where the beauty of it comes in my top 10 list, 15 list, top 15. You have great, incredible characters. The characters are all back, so you know that those characters are back. But let's talk about the villain for a little bit. Thanos is Marvel's best villain. You can say Killmonger all you want. You can say Vulture all you want. You could say Hela all you want. You can say Loki all you want. But Thanos really takes the cake. Takes it away from all of them, because he did what no other villain was able to do. And I'm not going to spoil anything, because maybe there might be that one person in the world that hasn't seen Infinity War, but I don't know how that's possible, because it's just such a huge movie. But I was incredibly torn, guys. You guys have no idea how torn I was between having this be number 2 and Spider-Verse be number 1, or Spider-Verse be number 2 and this be number 1. Ultimately, it had to come down to it. I watched Infinity War earlier today, and I couldn't help but put this at number 1, because it has to be where it is. There's no other movie that affected me, no other movie that I had most enjoyment with in 2018 than in Avengers Infinity War. Guys, that was my top 15 list of my favorite movies of 2018. If you guys didn't like my list, I'm sorry. It is my list, though. It's my opinion. You guys can voice your opinion whenever you want and wherever you want, but this is just my opinion. These are the movies I had the most fun with. Now, I should get into some honorable mentions here if you'd like at the very end, but as always, I'd like for you to like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and just enjoy the rest of my channel this year, coming in 2019. Happy New Year, everyone. I will do my worst list sometime this week, too. Now, honorable mentions. My only 3 honorable mentions are 8th Grade by Bo Burnham, Aquaman, and Ready Player One. Those were the only ones that I could think of and that I really, really, really enjoyed this year that just didn't make my list, because other movies had to top them. I didn't hate any of those 3 honorable mentions. They were just the movies that I felt had 15 other movies that were better. I'm sorry. Thank you guys so much for watching. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.